Good morning, everybody. We got 3D Medic Vents, Mike Whaley, Papaw's Projects, Ed, and Minnesota Maker. How you guys doing this morning? I hope the video looks all right. I spent the morning adjusting some settings because YouTube kept screaming at me that I wasn't giving it the resolution that it wanted. So I went through OBS's settings and altered those resolutions to give it the resolution output that it was expecting. And then when I did that, I had to quickly kind of resize some of the stuff on the screen so it all still fit on the screen. Good morning, Joe. And so, yeah, things may look a little different today. Let me know if they're better or worse than past streams. And right now I don't have the lights on in my room, so let me know if that's too dark as well. But I thought the Christmas lights looked better with the light off. Good morning, Mr. Buttram. So, welcome to another Tutorial Tuesday. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you guys how to make multi-material models in Blender. I'm still fairly new at it myself, but I've made several multi-material models in the past couple weeks, and Roy Holly has tested them, and they've worked on his MMU2. And so, oh good, much clearer, awesome. That's what I was hoping, since YouTube was wanting a specific resolution and I wasn't sending them that resolution, that it would improve things to go find that setting, because I still don't know my way around OBS that well. But anyway, Roy Holly has printed them out and successfully printed them out, so I figure, well, okay, I've got, you know, at least a little bit of a handle on this, so I thought maybe I'd share it with you guys. With the Palette 2 now being more and more available, more and more people are sharing their videos of the Palette 2, including just this past weekend, Mr. Chris Riley. And the MMU2 has been out for a while, so there is a growing need for multi-material models. And right now, there's just not a lot of them out there. So what I thought I would do today is show you guys how I've gone about making some multi-material stuff, and since the testing has been successful, I think it's I think it's something that I've figured out how to do now. So we will we'll do that today. Let's go to the screen share, which I apologize now at the smaller resolution than what I was using before. The screen is also going to be a little bit smaller, so. All right. Good morning, John. So today we are going to make a multi-material model. Here we have Blender open and ready to go. So we're going to create And let's create text. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn on screen share for you guys. Hold on. Let's go out of 3D view. Let's go to the text editor. Open the run the script. Go back into 3D view. Let's go down here, start screencast keys. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing. All right. Tab out. I always forget what the hotkey is to convert text into a mesh. Now when we tab in, we have a, all right, cool. Rotate it 90 degrees on the X, and then rotate it 90 degrees. Nope. Z, there it is. Okay. And we're gonna tab in. Extrude it out. Whoops. And let's grab it. Get it about in the middle there. I'm going to slide it back until it intersects the object. And I want it to stick through the surface just a little bit. All right. Morning, Roy Holly and Scalda. And then we're going to go back into create text. Rotate it -90. Center it up. Actually, I should probably scale it up too. Scale it up. It'll center it up out there. And we will convert to a mesh. Tab into edit mode. Select all, extrude it along the Z. And embed it into the model, or into the cube. I'm going to scale this one up too. made it too big. All right. Morning, James. I'm going to create text again. Hit tab to edit it. Back the word text off. Tab out of edit mode. Move it back here. Rotate it 90 degrees. The X. Rotate it 90 degrees along the Z. Negative 90 degrees. There we go. And actually looking at my reference, so I'm cheating, I'm using reference. Well, I guess that's not cheating. You should use reference where possible. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees again. No, we want the X, but we want negative 90. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Maybe too much. And then we're going to convert to mesh. Tab into edit mode. Select it all. And we're going to extrude it along the X a little bit. Whoop. That's good enough. And embed it also into the body of the cube. This one didn't need to be quite as thick as it was, so we're going to thin that out a little bit. I'm sure there's much easier ways to do some of this stuff. I'm still new at working with text in Blender. And I'm just eyeballing this. This isn't being real precise. We're going to create text. Edit the text. Need a 4. Tab out. Scale it up a little. Then we're going to rotate this 90 degrees along the, not the X, Y. I'm just having a heck of a time today. Just trying to get this thing oriented the same way it is on my die, but I guess it doesn't matter. All right. Hit the G key to drag it in the middle. Thereabouts. Convert to extrude it along Z. Center it up a little more. And then go back to create and text. So how's everybody doing this morning? Everybody doing all right? This is the boring part. Maybe I should have pre-made this stuff. 2, tab out, slide it out. There we are. Convert it to a mesh. Select it all. Extrude, not the X, the Y. Embed it into the cube. And then that just leaves us the 5. Tab out of that. Create text. Tab into edit mode. Back that up. 5, tab out. Slide it out. Rotate 90 degrees. Rotate 180. There we are. Whoa. 180. What did I just do? Oh, I changed layers. I forgot to hit the R first. 80. Roll Y. Scale it up. Move it down. Scale it back down just a little. Good enough. And we're going to convert it to a mesh. And that didn't do it. Did I hit the wrong thing? Convert to. There we go. Extrude it along the Y just a little bit. And then embed it into the cube. All right, we made our numbers. And we've got our cube. This one looks like you need to invert. Huh. Oh, maybe because I'm not in edit mode. Hold on. Invert the normals. There we go. Scale that one up a little. Let's go into wireframe view and thin out some of the numbers that are a little too thick. All right. So once you have your objects all created, so what we've done here. Now, I know what you're thinking, because the text is extruding out past the end of the die. Well, say you want it flush. We're going to do that. We're going to start with the number 1. So, you've created your objects, you've got them intersecting each other, and now you want to make them multi-material to be printed as a single object. So we are going to select all the numbers. We're going to hit Control J to make them one object, because we're just going to do this 2 color. If you wanted to do it more than one color, then you know, the text more than one color, then you would need to make them, leave them as separate objects. But we're just going to do a 2 color die. Be real simple. Someone that has a A10M or an A20M or the CRX could print this in 2 color, or any printer with, you know, dual extruder. So we're going to copy them right where they're at. Because I find it, whenever you're getting ready to do something like this, it's always good to keep a non-destroyed copy. Because sometimes these Boolean operators and stuff can do weird things. So I'll make a copy and hide it in case I need to go back. Alright, we're also going to duplicate the cube. We're going to hide the duplicate of the cube for now. So we're going to select the text, select the cube, and we're going to go over here to Tools. We want to do an intersect. Now, what that did is that kept the numbers where they intersected the cube and got rid of the cube. But it also got rid of anything sticking past the surface of the cube. So now we've got these. We're going to duplicate them. Hide them for right now. Grab this. We're going to bring back this cube. And actually, since I know that these are intersecting in the same spot, I'm going to actually use them to go over here to Boolean, and we are going to do a difference. All right, so we have this one, and we have this one. The two objects are embedded into each other. Everything's nice and flush. So this one is our numbers. Whoops. This one is our numbers. Here, this one. So we're going to call that numbers. Hide that for a second. I'm going to bring this one in. And we're going to rename this one. This one is our is a die, a singular for die says die. So this one is our die. This one is our numbers. So now, the file, export STL. Actually, wait, I didn't do scaling. So let's bring our numbers back. Let's select both our numbers and our die. Which, I mean, you can scale it in your slicer, but right now the thing's huge. And to see exactly how huge, remember what I told you guys about the Measure It tool and how handy it can be? I'm going to select these two vertices, and we are going to click the segment button and click show. See, so if I just exported this the way it is, it's going to come into your slicer thinking that this die is 2 meters in size. It's huge. We don't want that. We want to get this in millimeters. Now, if we were... Where did my calipers go? If we were trying to match the size of a die set we already had, grab your calipers. Let's measure. So this die is 14.3 millimeters. So we're going to scale it down. I may not scale it down that far because that's going to make the letters pretty small for printing purposes. But we're going to select the die and the numbers, scale them down. We're going to go with about 20 millimeters. So it's going to be bigger than the my sample die. But I'm hoping that won't be too small for the resolution of the printer to pick up the numbers and print them. Morning, Chris Riley. We're making a multi-material model, and I'm using a die to as the test object. So I've got a 20.01. That's close enough to 20. So now we've created, we've created the die and the numbers, and they're two separate objects. Well, that's what I was thinking, Chris, because it seems like multi-material stuff is becoming more and more common. So now we are going with our numbers selected. We are going to File, Export, STL. Remember in Blender to scale to 1000 to keep scale. And since I have multiple objects on the scene, but I only want to export the numbers right now, I'm going to go to Selection Only. And we are going to put this, let's put it on the desktop. Die underscore numbers. Export STL. And then you're going to select the die itself. File, Export, STL. Die underscore body. So now we created these two STL files right here. Now I don't have a multi-material, so I can't slice it and print it and show you guys. But someone with a multi-material now will be able to take these two STL files, bring them into their slicer, and it'll line them up the way they should be. And they can assign their colors and print it out. So that's all there is to it. I mean, I spent more time modeling the die than I did turning it into a multi-material object. I try to keep these tutorials fairly short and simple. But we have a die now that is ready for multi-material printing, two-color multi-material printing. If we wanted more than that, we would have kept our numbers as more separate pieces. But I just wanted this one to be the example, to be a two-color thing. So you create your object. Then you have your objects you're wanting to make a different color. You will make a copy of the thing that you're going to make a different color. You will do a Boolean operator to keep just where it intersects, and then you'll go back and take your original object that you just did that operator on, and you will repeat that process on the body again, but this time you will do a difference, which will remove the object. So then you just created two objects doing those two Boolean operators. You kept just the spot where your object you're cutting out intersected, and you kept just the body without the object, without the second object. And now they're perfectly lined up. They're perfectly on top of one another, lined up exactly right. And then you export the STLs. Slicer Prusa Edition, slice it and see how it works. Well, I've never sliced a multi-material model, but I guess I could do that. Slicer Prusa Edition. Though I'm hoping downloading something during a stream doesn't Slicer, download latest version. Do I want Slicer Prusa Edition plus drivers? Is that what I want? Because the tutorial part of this is pretty much done. Now we're on to the playing. So if you just tuned in for the tutorial, just kind of wrap up the tutorial part, and then I'll stay with you guys. If you just tuned in for the tutorial, I hope you learned today how I go about making multi-material models. I've made a few of them, and Roy Holly, who's in the chat right now, was gracious enough to be the guinea pig and has printed them out, and so far they've worked. We haven't ran into any issues, and so I thought, well, this would be a good tutorial today to show you guys how I've been creating the multi-material objects. So get out there and make some stuff for all of these multi-material machines that are coming available on the market. The MMU2's been out for a while for all of you Prusa folks, and the Palette 2 is starting to show up more and more. And Chris Riley, who's in the chat, just did an awesome video on unboxing, setting up, and printing with his last weekend. So go check out his channel for that. And okay, now back to chat, hanging out with people, and downloading Slicer. Hey, Ben. All right, so let's see. No, I don't need firmware for the Prusa. I just want Slicer Prusa Edition. Where's it at? I just want Slicer. I don't want all the other stuff. Oh, there it is. Okay. Downloading Prusa Edition Slicer. Do they not have like just an installer? Or is that what I downloaded here and I just need to extract it to download it? I mean to run it. Let's take it on the desktop for now. Extract. Yeah, Ben, don't be late for your interview tomorrow. Which I think you'll have a great experience with your interview with Walter. He's very good at leading an interview. Windows protected my computer. I'm like, no, run it anyway. Configuration wizard. I don't have any of this stuff. So I'm installing it like I have a printer and I don't. Okay. Oh, I didn't hit MMU2, did I? Crap. Or can I fix that now? Configuration wizard. MMU2. There we go. Oh, that's 2.5. Where's the... Oh. MMU2. Next. Finish. Okay. Yeah, my desktop's a mess right now. I need to go through and sort it out. So add files. It's on the desktop. And it was die body and die numbers. Printer pull down on the right to MMU2. Aha. MMU2. Okay. Yeah, I've never used this slicer in my life, so. Is that the purge block it's making for that? That thing? Wow. Well, anyway, you can see that the two objects are I guess I don't have to deal with all the purge stuff because I'm not actually going to print it. Click settings and you can choose the colors. Filament settings. Does it bother anybody else that it doesn't say platter, it says plater? Oh, that's settings. Okay. Huh. Second from the left is delete. Oh, okay. Delete it and bring them back in. Okay. Delete, delete. Printer, now that it's on MMU2, when I bring it in, it'll die body, die numbers. Open. Multiple objects were loaded for multi-material printer instead of considering them as multiple objects. Single objects having multiple parts. Yes. Click the purge block. Okay. Click the purge block. Each object. I see. So we can see now, though, that the die was the die and the numbers were brought in, and it was smart enough to know that they were parts of a single object that are set up for multi-material. So had I not done this right, we would have had an error by this point. Or something would look off, would look wrong. Like I said, I've never used this slicer, and I don't own a multi-material machine. But I've been working on being able to make multi-material stuff for all you folks that do. Yeah, not all slicers are smart enough to do this. Yeah, I would go out on a limb and say that probably use a slicer that is designed and meant for multi-material if you have one available to you, which, you know, Slicer Prusa Edition is free, so obviously, because I didn't have to pay for anything, just downloaded and installed. So in the settings here, that's where you would choose that one's extruder 1, that one's extruder 2. Okay. Hit slice. Where is slice at? Okay, I'm missing it. Where's slice on this thing? Oh, slice now. There it is. And then we go, what, preview? There we go. So there you go, guys. You can see that we successfully created a multi-material model. And according to Slicer Prusa Edition, it will print. So yeah, if you've wondered how to create multi-material models, now I've shown you how to do it in Blender. I know there are other ways out there. There are other programs. I know a lot of people use Mesh Mixer. But using the process that I showed you today, you can now do it in Blender, which, just from what I've seen in Mesh Mixer, it looked like the people that were making their stuff into multi-material in Mesh Mixer were just kind of like painting the faces on the STL, which is only going to be accurate to a point. Using the method that I showed you, you can literally cut any shape or object into another object. Oh, TK's here? I must have missed him. Sorry, I was watching the screen very intently during a lot of this, and so I probably missed a lot on chat, and I apologize for that. So, am I right in understanding this, Chris, that when you and Roy, that when you're doing a multi-material print, if we filled up the build plate with these dice, just absolutely filled up everything else on the build plate, the purge block would stay the same size. So say somebody was wanting to design these dice and print them and sell them on their Etsy store, they could print a whole build plate full of them, and the purge block wouldn't be any larger. Cool. Well, there you go, guys. I showed you how to make dice. How to make six-sided dice, anyway. There's TK. And the actual design part of this took, what, all of maybe 30 minutes? And a lot of that was me messing up and hitting wrong buttons. I hope Joe Paddock got to see this, because, you know, him being into D&D, then, you know, he just saw how to make his own six-sided dice. Well, and that's easy enough to do too. But like this die that I have right here, it's very sharp corners. They're not rounded at all. But if you wanted to round the corners, fine. We'll go back and do that real quick. Just let me get OBS over here and my chat back up where I can see it. Roy always wanting to be difficult. So we'll go in and we'll select all the edges we want to round off a little bit, which I guess ever since I scaled it down, it's wanting to be a pain. All right, so we selected all the edges. Control B to do a bevel. Bevel them like that. There we go. So now that's selected. Let's export it again. STL. Die body. Underscore version 2. Export STL. So now we'll go back into the 3D view here, select that object, and delete it. Add. Die body version 2. Die numbers. Open. Yes. Slice now, layers, oh not layers, preview, and does that make you happier, Roy? Rounded corners? You rounded them. It's your lot in life. So yeah, we made a 20mm cubed six-sided die. So it'll be the size of a calibration cube. That's not even right, Chris. That's just wrong, man. So yeah, So now we're just hanging out now for the next hour. If unless there's something you guys specifically want to see. Um, that's easy enough to do too. I showed you. I showed you everything you need to make as many colors as you want. I just joined all the numbers together so that we'd make it quick and easy for the tutorials purposes. But you could literally go through and each individual number save out the STL. We could go into our existing one and go into our existing one, and we could go. I'm just going to quickly do something here. Separate those by selection. And then P, separate those by selection. Tab out. So now if I saved out each of these, as quick as that was to do, you would print 3 and 4 would be the same color, 2 and 5 would be the same color, 1 and 6 would be the same color, and then the body. So that's 4. That's the most the palette can handle. Five streams last week. I must have missed some. What? So I know you had your Palette 2 unboxing. You had the Fun in the Country Basement. What was your other streams? And thank you, Skalda, by the way. 5 pallets feeding an MMU2. You know, as cool as that sounds, John, that also sounds like that would be an absolute nightmare, considering the software measures and cuts in the pallet the filament to length first as it's going. So that means all 5 of those pallets would not only have to be talking to the printer, all 5 of those pallets would have to be talking to each other, which sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare from a programming standpoint. Well, now it's much less of a nightmare, Ryan, if you use all the same color filament. Yeah, you'd have to get like the second generation Threadripper. The second gen Threadripper, and 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm sure there'd be a hefty GPU involved in there somewhere too. If they can use GPUs to mine cryptocurrency, we could, use the NVIDIA with the RTX 2080. Vitamin C, Ben. Vitamin C. Yeah, let cloud computing handle all the heavy lifting. Right, John? I like that. I like that. Yeah, and you can do this with any 3D object. You can cut the parts out and blend them together that way. Um, you can even bring in an SVG file, a vector graphic file, and convert it to a mesh and extrude it. And say I wanted to print one of my Jeeps, but I wanted to put Chris Riley's logo right on the hood. All I would need is an SVG of his logo, convert it to a mesh, extrude it out, and do the same process we did with the numbers on the die, where I would make 2 copies of the hood. I would save just the cutout part, and then I would take the other hood and cut the part out. Now they're still perfectly lined up with each other, and export those 2 STLs. And then we could have one of my Jeep hoods with Chris Riley's, with Chris's basement logo right on the hood. Or on the door, or wherever you wanted to put it. I'm having a lot of fun designing stuff for multi-material, and one of these days I'm gonna have to get myself something to print multi-material stuff with, so I can test the stuff myself, rather than having to lean on poor Roy over there, because Roy's telling me he's gonna have to buy more printers to keep up with me if I keep cranking this stuff out. Walter was asking where you were at the other day, Roy. He was missing you. Said he hadn't seen you in one of his streams for a while. I told Walter you were too busy printing all my stuff. I told him it was my fault. So he's busy doing color swaps at layers and things like that make my prints make my models look really cool. So you could still do color swaps at layer height with the MMU2 or the palette, couldn't you? Or well, maybe not the palette, because the way the palette slices stuff together. But you could still do color swaps at layer height with... Well, I guess you could do it with the palette. It would just be less precise. His new time slot's hard for you to make. Well, I'll let him know that next time that I can make it, because I have a hard time making some of his new time slot as well, because unless it's a day off, I'm like sitting in the parking garage waiting to walk to the club at the time he starts streaming. Yeah, for me, John, the jury's still out because I see the benefit to both. Um, the MMU2 is cheaper and it's 5 color. But from everything I've seen, because of the way that it extrudes the material, it takes longer to print stuff because you have more time in between swapping filaments than the palette just splicing the multicolors together. Um, and the palette, I think, requires uh, maybe a little more calibration. I don't know. But I think that canvas hub thing is supposed to make that all a little easier with the if you have the canvas hub. I think that makes the computer talks to the canvas hub, and then the canvas hub talks to both the printer and the palette. Um, and then of course the benefit to the palette is it can be carried over to any machine. While it's more expensive, you don't have to own a Mark III to get into it. Like in my position, for me to get into an MMU2 would cost me over $1,000 because I would have to go buy a Mark III and an MMU2. And then you would be limited to the build volume of the Mark III. While the palette, I could buy a palette, I could put it on the S4 over there, and then I could have a 400 by 400 by 400 multi-material machine. Granted, only 4 colors, but I would be able to print huge multi-material stuff, and I would like to. I have some stuff in my head that I would like to flesh out more. Um, Getting into not only vehicles, but into building buildings, bases, and warehouses and things like that for 1/18 scale, so that for people's diorama usage, they would be able to or play settings or whatever, because you think of them as a play set. You could build a big base for Cobra or a big base for GI Joe or a warehouse for them to have a fight scene in or whatever. And then also being able to cater a little bit to the guys who are into the 1/18 scale diecast stuff and model gas stations and stuff like that. Right, build volume minus the purge block. Exactly, Mike. So you take a printer that's build volume is just barely um, big enough for some of my models that exist already, and now you have to make sure you can orient stuff to fit it on there and the purge block. That's a good point, Mike. I hadn't thought about that. So a 400 by 400 build plate now, making room for the purge block, you still have what, maybe 300 by 400 of it, depending upon the model, that is usable. Yeah, I think if Prusa would come out with a large volume printer, I really think that should have been their next step before getting into the whole SLA market. I don't think they were, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn here. I don't think they were necessarily needed in the SLA market, because I don't see, and maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe once I see the machine and see some people reviewing their SLA printer, I'll get it and I'll see what niche it fills that was previously unfilled. But right now I don't see it. I don't see that it does anything so super spectacular that you couldn't get on the market already. Well, the regular pallet 2 is, at least here in the States, is $600, and the MMU2 is $350. But then you know, like I said, you got to buy a $750 Prusa Mark III to put it on. So for me to get into the MMU2, I would have to spend $750 on a Mark III and $350 on a MMU2. Yeah, I think so, Chris. I think that's their goal with it. Is I think they're trying to uh, take over the market from Form 2. But ultimately, I don't see what, other than having the ball screw instead of the lead screw, and maybe some little bit better quality components. Well, probably considerably better quality components. I I don't see what it offers over, say, the Anycubic Photon. Yeah, that would be cool, Mike. One thing I do like is that they've got the purge objects in there as well. Um, so for my purposes, like talking about making those building designs, the things that I've been kind of sketching out on paper, there's going to be little connector things that won't be necessarily visible once you put the building together. So if I could use those as purge objects, so print the wall of the building or whatever, and then the purge objects, I'm making all the little connector pins. Morning, red light. You out in your crane today? Right. Yeah. Some of my models require a lot of support. They do. And I admit that freely, and that's probably something that I need to, as a designer, try to um, find a way around. But some of the stuff I just don't see any way around it. Not in keeping it in the orientation that I want the layer lines to be. Yeah, the palette is tempting. It is tempting. From what I've seen on it so far, Napier Photography has done some really nice videos on the palette too. And then Chris said his still needs some fine tuning, but it looks like it's fairly simple to get started. Yeah, it looks like it's fairly simple to get everything set up and start printing with it. And I don't think the same can be said for the MMU2. It looks a little more complex to get going. Well, yeah, if you're looking at the Palette 2 Pro, but um, I so far, other than the better warranty, I don't see much reason to go with the Pro over the regular. Right. Yeah. No, I get it, Roy. I think I think that would be a useful thing because again, there's a model like mine. It could definitely, like most of mine, could definitely take advantage of that and purge a lot of stuff through the support material. Calibration has been a challenge, and see that's kind of weird because and I don't know if maybe he's catering to the company a little more because they sent it to him for free, but it didn't look like Napier Photography had much trouble with his, and it could be a individual case by case basis too. The standard is, jeez, man, yeah, the standard is $600 here in the U.S. So the standard one is $600. The To get a Prusa Mark III and an MMU2 would be $1,100. So you're talking about a $500 difference. Yeah, he did crank out a bunch of them quick, and then I haven't seen anything like this week. But he's also dealing with, he's a little frustrated at the size and viewership of his channel. I did see that video as well, that he's thinking about renaming the channel and changing his focus and all sorts of stuff. And I mean, I sent him a message and said, man, I replied a comment and said, man, I understand your frustration. I do. Because my channel's not as big as I was hoping it would be by now. But, rather than thinking about changing things up, I think the better way to go is to just keep doing what I'm doing, but try to do it better. Keep doing the things I'm doing, but try to do it better. I do need to be more thorough with my YouTube stuff. I so need to go sit down in Photoshop for a day and work on making myself a new logo because I hate mine. I hate that logo right there. Napier Photography. Napier Photography in 3D. He's a nice guy, and he's from Tennessee. Um, he's got great energy, and he puts together some fantastic content. He really does. Um, and he was a little frustrated that I think he's 500 and something subscribers, and he expected his channel to be bigger than that by now. I expected to have more than 160 subscribers by now, but it is what it is. You can't abandon something when it could be just a small adjustment is all is needed to get something moving in the right direction. And I'm hoping, I'm not sure, I'm hoping that's where I'm at in this picture right now, is that I needed to make some small adjustments. And the small adjustments that I'm making so far, I hope are being noticed. Tutorial Tuesday, I think, is a step in the right direction for this channel, and showing you guys how to do some stuff. My fear there is I'm going to run out of stuff to show you guys that I haven't already shown you. Well, and I lost some people in that big purge that happened the other day. Yeah, well, like I need to sit down in Photoshop and design thumbnails for all my videos and go back and retroactively thumbnail them all. And I need to go work on the keywords and the descriptions and things like that in my channel. And I need to work on my logo because I hate my logo. So that I can brand the channel better. You know, it's things like that that I feel I definitely am very weak on right now. And I had some streams in there that were really, there was nothing of substance or value to them. And I need to work on that. Even if it's like in these Tutorial Tuesdays where we spent the first half hour doing something and showing you guys something. And I need to work on that. Which, by the way, James from Print and Play was asking me about 3D printed springs the other day. And he shared a picture with me of he's got some 3D printed springs designed for a project that he's working on too. So I'm glad I could inspire somebody there. I didn't show him how to do it, and I didn't, but I'm glad I could inspire him to go out and figure it out. I sent him some links to some videos that were tutorials and stuff, so I think, you know, hopefully that helped him. But you know, my goal when I started this whole thing was just to kind of share what I was doing with you guys. And along the way, I thought it would be better to teach you guys. And so that's where I'm at right now is trying to not just show you guys what I'm doing, but teach you guys how I do what I do. And I'm no expert. I'm no expert. Joe Larson's better at this than I am. And he's got some Blender tutorials and stuff out there, and Joe Larson is phenomenal at this. Hey, Info Mario. But I think there's room for multiple people to show you how to do the same things to get to the same end result, because I think there's room for it by means of not everybody does it the same, and maybe the way that you do it speaks more clearly to somebody. You know, I've thought about doing it that way. My problem is, as much time as I work, it would take me forever to get a video edited together and put out, because I work 6 days a week. So when am I going to sit down and do that? And when I'm not working, you know, my wife and kid are demanding of my time, you know. So I can do these live streams like this during the day, in the mornings, because I can do them before I have to set into, and my dog is being demanding right now, before I have to set into my day. I can do these, you know, for a couple hours in the morning, but it would take me more than a couple hours in editing alone just to put together the first 30 minutes that I did in this video, because I'm not fast at video editing. I'm terrible at it. So I figured the way that I've decided to do it was these Tutorial Tuesdays, kick off the stream with the tutorial, and then when we wrap up the tutorial, let everybody know that's the end of the tutorial. If that's what you came here for, thank you for tuning in and watching. Feel free to hang out and watch the rest. So it still allows me to hang out with you guys, but it kind of serves the same purpose of an edited video. It's just doing it in one take rather than doing... And I suppose I could sit down and... Joey, you're fine. I suppose I could sit down and shoot videos as a one take and not do all the editing and stuff like that. And kind of script out the process a little bit. Joseph, you want to say hi? Say hi. We don't want to say hi. You're being bashful. You know, so yeah, I could sit down and do them as a one take, but I don't know that sitting down and doing it as a one take would be any more successful than doing it this way, where I just start the stream off and go straight into the tutorial, and then at the end of the tutorial say thank you all if that's what you came here for. You know, that part of the video is over. I'm going to continue to hang out here and chat with the people in chat, and you know, like, subscribe, all that. And I forgot to say any of that stuff. I did. I need to get better at that. I do. I need to be more mindful of promoting the channel within the content, and maybe that's one of the reasons for my lack of growth. But I also think most people know that already. You know, most people, when you're on YouTube and you're bouncing around from video to video and watching stuff, I think most people already know, I like this, I'm going to subscribe to it. And maybe, you know, maybe I'm overthinking that. But I mean, I know I don't have to be told to subscribe to something I like. If I like it, I'm going to subscribe to it. But I also understand that you know, the whole call to action aspect of it is a marketing tool that I'm not taking advantage of. I appreciate that, Ben. I do. Well, thank you, John. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as wild and crazy and entertaining as guys like Walter and Barnacles. You know, they're better at off the cuff hilarity and chaos. And that's not me. But you know, I hope I'm bringing the stuff that I'm doing across in a easy to understand and entertaining way. You know, I hope the way it comes across is I want to help you guys, and I want you guys to see that this is fun, because it is. It's a lot of fun. You don't know how excited I got the first time I sat down to design something in multi-material, and I sent the files over to the Discord and told Roy they were there, and because Roy's like, I got a multi-material, I will print them for you. You have no idea how excited I was, and I couldn't wait. I was like a kid waiting for Christmas morning, waiting for Roy to send me back pictures of the grill and if it completed or not. But I was nervous at the same time because I had never done this. So I'm like, what if I'm doing this wrong? What if I'm approaching this totally wrong? You know, I think I have a grasp of it. I think I understand it. Well, that's what, you know, yeah, I try, Ben. Yeah, I get that, Scalda. And maybe that is the other way to go about this, because I know you can pull the video down later and edit it. So maybe that's the way I should go about some of the tutorials, is pull down just the tutorial, you know, pull it and cut just the tutorial aspect out of it, and then maybe edit a proper intro and outro to it, and put up that video as a separate video. It wouldn't be something that, you know, so that might be a way to do it. John, you do it. What's going on, man? So, you know, maybe I need to look into that, and maybe I can get some edited videos put together that way, where it wouldn't be real drawn out and involved, because I just don't have time for drawn out and involved. I would love to, you know, I would love to have the time to make some of those, to make crazy, you know, entertaining videos with cool little effects and things like that, like some of those guys do. I just, it's not second nature to me. It's not a quick and easy skill for me. It's something that would take time, but I could do it. It would take time, but I just don't have the time. If I could make the time, but then something else in my life would have to suffer. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, and the whole reason I started doing this was first off just to share with you guys what I was doing. But then secondly, along the way, I started thinking, if I can do this, anybody can do this because it's not that hard and it's fun. So maybe I need to just show people that it's not that intimidating and teach them little things along the way. Okay. Yeah, yeah, Scaldo, that makes sense. And maybe I'll try that next time. Yeah, Roy, that's not a bad idea either. So the timeline and say, tutorial starts here. Um, Tutorial ends here. Thanks for stopping in, Ben. Hope to see you again soon, man. So I don't know, and maybe it would get my message out there better to break them down into small, more easily managed videos, and it would help the channel, and it would help more people, and so I need to think about it and make a plan for 2019 to be maybe hopefully a better growth year than 2018 was, because I started this channel March 19th, the day that was my first video. It was the day after my birthday. And so, I haven't been at this a year yet. But in that time, I've seen others that just started their channel or just started putting content on their channel that have had, significantly larger growth. And they're putting up edited videos. And I don't know if that's it, or I don't know if it's because I'm boring. I could be boring. It's okay. It's That's all right. I'm doing my best. You know, maybe their personalities are just more magnetic for people, or maybe it's the edited content and keeping the attention span thing short so that people know that, hey, I'm going to tune in and watch this 5-10 minute video, and that's it. Oh, I would love to pick your brain about it sometime, John. I would, because I want to make good content for people, and I want the channel to grow. I mean, it's not the end all be all for me, because I'm not looking to I don't care if this channel ever gets monetized, really. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. I have a job. A job that I work very hard at and very often at, and that I love. Um, in fact, I might not be able to stream Thursday if things pan out the way that I think they're going to. I have an opportunity to play a show at 10 o'clock in the morning downtown. So that if I take that show, that means I have to leave my house at 8 o'clock in the morning. Start a second channel for the edited clips. Okay. So, sort of like Maker's Muse and Maker's Muse Live. I haven't said yes to that show yet, but if I do say yes to that show, it means I'll have to leave my house at 8 o'clock in the morning to get to the show. Okay. I didn't do this as a I didn't do this as a hangout. I do not have a Skype account. I guess I could see about setting one up. Let's see here. New tab here. Oh, Microsoft Store, no. How likely are you recommend Microsoft Store on your Windows 10 PC to others? I'm not at all. I am not at all likely to recommend it. All right, let's see here. I gotta create an account. Okay. It says I already have an account. I don't recall having an account. This could be interesting. Okay. Oh, did my screen freeze? Okay, Skype is being weird. It says I try to create an account. It says I already have an account under that phone number. And then says if this is yours, sign in now. I go to sign in and I type in my number and it says that there's no account associated with this number. Ah. Which my phone is not in here. Let me grab my phone. Here, back. Facebook Messenger, probably. All right, I sent you a friend request on Facebook. Aha. Okay, so I got to go delete somebody. Hold on. Yeah, I am capped out again. Dadgum. Scroll down until I see somebody I don't know. That I don't actually know. That I can remove. Problem is I actually know all these people. Oh, there he goes. Da, da, da. Where is my... There we go. Answer. Allow it to use my microphone and camera. There we go. Put John over there. And get my chat back up. Can you hear me now? Can anybody hear me?
You're caller number 1. I hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Awesome. Okay.
You're there.
Yeah, Mike. Facebook has a friends cap. It's 5,000. 5,000 is that magic number.
I do hear you.
Okay, cool.
Question
Well, I hear you. I do. I hear you too. So hopefully we're not having issues. What's going on, man?
Yeah, good. Okay, so I'm going to talk fast. If you can't process, let me know.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, so, all right. The problem with live streams, the problem with the problem with live streams is that uh, you have you have an audience who are used to you doing live streams,
Right.
and that is compatible with this channel. If you were to spin up a second channel and put edited content and do live streams on that channel, you will have an issue um, where the live streams won't be compatible with that, meaning that your audience isn't going to sit through 2 hours of a live stream
Right.
to consume that content. And if they open up a live stream video and watch like the first 5 seconds and click off, that's a bad number for your metrics in that channel. So
Okay.
what people are doing now is to combat that issue, because it's really an issue with YouTube. Their algorithm is so messed up.
Right. It's
And I
it's
think they just created the live stream thing in trying to compete with other places like Twitch, and didn't really take into consideration
how it was going to affect their algorithm overall.
the metrics easily.
Right.
So it impacts your channel negatively if
Okay.
your audience isn't used to it.
Right.
Now, you take a look at Chris Riley. Chris Riley is killing it with live streams. He had 116 people in there, or 120 people the other night.
Right.
So I looked at that and I'm like, holy crap, he is demanding this area. And I'm sure that he's going to reach 10K pretty soon.
Oh yeah, quickly.
But you can't compare, because I heard you mention, noticing the growth of somebody else. You're not them. So you
Right.
can't compare yourself to them. It's very unfair to yourself to do that. So what you need to do is, and this is me telling you this, you can take it or you can just decide not to do it.
Oh no, I'm looking at
I would take
some changes.
lessons of what you're doing. Nobody cares about building a Jeep.
Right.
I'm not saying that in a bad way about you. Nobody cares about watching a video about building a Jeep to learn how to do Blender. What they do care about is how you extruded that wheel, how you extruded the cylinder, how you make the connection between the axle and the wheel, how you added the ridges to the tire. But each one of those things needs to be a separate video in itself, and titled out properly, tagged properly, so each one can be discovered. If you make a channel nothing but that, you are super niche down in such a way that people are going to find your channel, and your channel will grow exponentially faster than what this channel's growing.
Okay.
Because there's several things that are in play now. You know what it takes to create a channel because you've already been there. So there's some
Right.
lessons that you've learned. You're going to apply those strategies to this new channel. You're going to have people like me, Joel Telling. I'm going to refer you to people like Roberto Blake, certain pieces of their content so you can quickly go from zero to hero. You'll apply those strategies to this new channel, and your new channel will just blow up. And
Okay.
I really think that's what's going to happen. But you got to be niche down.
Right.
The problem with, and it's really an issue with variety content, is dead. And that's what Roberto Blake says, and I really think it's true. It's a shame because I got variety content on my channel. I do boating videos. I got sub-panel videos. I got crown molding videos. I got 3D printing videos. It's all over the place. It's variety content.
Right.
So the way that the metrics work on YouTube is when you have a video that's about doing baking a cake, and then you do some videos about baking a cake, and then you throw in a video about fixing your car. Well, the people who found you for baking a cake, they don't give a shit about the fixing the car video.
Right.
And they're not even going to watch it. Well, what happens is that's really detrimental. That's a signal to YouTube to, oh, nobody cares about this video.
Right.
And if you do like 3 more videos, and this is what I'm doing on my channel, I'm like sabotaging my channel. If you do 3 more videos of fixing a car, now people are like, who the hell is this dude? I came here for baking a cake, and now fixing a car? Like, what's going on? So that's why if you niche down, and that would be super hyper focused on just this piece of software, Blender.
Right.
Because that's what you do everything in.
Right.
Maybe you can throw in a little bit of the edited clip showing like the final Jeep of where, and my headset just died, of where that axle or where that thing fits in. That might actually be a really cool idea. If you can have an animation, hey, Hey everybody, in today's lesson we're going to talk about creating an axle. We're going to create a circle, we're going to extrude it, and then we got to do a couple little things. I guess maybe you might bevel it at a certain spot so the wheel will lock in.
Right.
Um, it'll snap fit, you know. Um, we're going to create that in today's lesson, and I'm going to show you exactly where that piece fits. And then you know how you see these car commercials or whatever where it kind of shows like the wheel and then it explodes out. Like you could do that in like some form of animation, I'm sure.
Right.
Where,
Yeah. Absolutely.
where you actually focus in on that piece and then you blow out and you're like, okay, I'm creating this. So if you do that, now you might not get the million subs on this, but I
Right.
tell you what, your channel is going to live a long time because Blender's not going away.
No.
It's open source.
And
People can
Blender
use it for free,
2.8
right?
is just came out in
And
beta. So yeah.
it's people are going to come to you as the expert on this stuff. And then you can have your featured channel is something that I forget if you have to wait till you're 1,000 subs or something. But on featured channel, you can link to your other channel, and then you can do this circular virality or whatever they call it, where even though you're going to leave your channel, which is kind of detrimental to the channel, you're going to pull them into your other channel, which is like the live stream channel. Hey, if you're interested in seeing this entire build and how I did everything, here's a live stream. And you're going to have a couple people that are going to want to do that.
Right.
That are like, okay, you know what? I really want to see how he built this Jeep. This is really cool. And then they might start digging your content and like participating in your live streams. And then when you hit that 1,000, which you will hit 1,000 on this channel, then you know what, they might start hitting you with some super chats.
Right.
So, but you can ask for your PayPal donations and stuff, which I would definitely do. Um, I would bring that up, you know, like you said in the live stream, where you have to ask for.
Right.
You add
Call to action.
to asking for tips when you're performing.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. Hey, if you want me to continue doing this stuff, you know, in order to pay the bills, you know, it would be really helpful if you tip. So I know I just spewed a lot at once.
No, I get it,
For
and
people to
and it
understand what I said.
yeah, and it makes sense to me because I think.
I want to make sure that I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
You can hear me now? Okay, cool. So no, it makes sense to me. I think, you know, my first indication of that was when I saw Angus created a second channel for his live streams. You know, because there's the Maker's Muse channel and there's the Maker's Muse live channel. He's
Yeah, I had to turn up my YouTube, so I'm hearing you on delay.
okay, and so he's compartmentalized those things where, you know, his edited videos are here, his live streams are here, and yeah, I get it. I think maybe that is the better way to go about this, and um, you know, a lot of that I think this is going to be a way to move forward in 2019 to do this, and so yeah, that's some real food for thought because I'll be getting a new computer here a couple weeks into January, and when I do that, it's going to make it easier to do, you know, edited videos and that sort of thing, rather than trying to do them on this old computer. Um, so yeah, you know, I definitely want to go do something to fix it because I know what I'm doing is it's not perfect. It's broken. It you know, it has to be broken, otherwise, you know, I wouldn't still be sitting at, I wouldn't have stagnated at you know, 150 ish subs. Um, you know, it grew to a point and then it just kind of plateaued. I know you're on a delay, so
There's there's issues with YouTube not notifying subscribers.
yeah,
So you have subscribers on your channel, and yeah, you have 163 subscribers. I'd say only 10% of them are probably being notified that your video has been released. So that's another issue that you need to combat. And you could do that by tweeting and everything and posting on Facebook. But on Facebook, you got your 3D printed Ricky on Facebook. If not, you
No,
should create it.
no, I do
You
not
can
have
post
a.
that video natively also.
Okay.
But the other thing you can do is you can, without having to worry about having a better computer or whatever, you could do what you're doing with recording a video, and then you can make it like a private live stream, and then you can edit that video down. You can edit that video within YouTube itself. Just cut it down. So
Okay.
you're so skilled at creating these models in Blender that I really think that you could do these things in probably one take. And you might make a mistake and you got to redo the whole thing. But I'm saying you're creating these hyper focused. This is how you do this in Blender.
Right. And short videos, because it's been proven that people in general have a shorter attention span, so they're more likely to tune into a video that's 5 or 6 minutes long than they are to tune into a 1 hour long video. Trolling for dollars. I have no idea what exactly what machine I'm going to get yet. A lot of that's going to depend on the budget. The
Yep,
budget is going to let
that's
me.
right. So when you search YouTube, I learned this the other day that I was in Roberto Blake's mastermind call, and
We're dealing with the delay.
so searching YouTube, when you click on the filter, it shows you different things you can filter on, like channel and stuff. But one thing that was really telling was short video and long video. The short video is less than 4 minutes, so that was really interesting to see that, because then that means that YouTube is valuing short videos are considered less than 4 minutes long. So if you can keep your videos to less than 4 minutes long, you may attract a whole lot of people that you would otherwise would be like, okay, I'm not even going to watch this video because it's like 6 minutes long.
Right. Well, man, you've given me a lot to think about, and I think you know moving forward, I definitely will be changing some things, and I will be taking all of this advice into
Well, I
account.
hope that helped you. Do you have any questions? Anybody else have any questions?
Giving it a minute, dealing with the delay. Well, if not, I do have a phone call I need to return, and we're at that 2 hour mark as well. Um, I want to.
All right, so I'm going to hang up. Um, Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And
Anytime.
you're rocking the modeling. I don't know anybody else who creates these awesome vehicles and stuff.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So that was John with You Do It, and I want to thank him for popping in and giving me some advice today, and
Right.
it's some very very valuable advice that I will definitely be following as moving forward. Um, I'll be following moving forward into 2019, and probably a lot of it's going to have to, as far as the change, is going to have to wait until I get the new machine, which is coming soon, and but we'll get that squared away, and we'll get that going. And I do have a phone call that I've got to return that came in there just a couple minutes ago. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for supporting the channel and sitting in through all of this, the live stream, length and stuff like that. Because I know, again, it means the world to me that you guys come out and support the channel, whether that be by just hanging out and participating, or by liking and subscribing and doing the other things down below to support the channel. It's all appreciated. It really is. And thank you guys so much. And I do not know yet if I will be streaming on Thursday. I've got a couple things I got to figure out, and that's part of what this phone call is about, to determine whether I'm going to be doing that show Thursday morning or not, down in Nashville. And so if I am, I won't be able to stream. So we will see you guys the next time we have the opportunity to see you, one way or another. We'll get this thing figured out. We'll grow the channel. And once again, thanks to You Do It for popping in and sharing his wisdom with all of us. And I hope you guys learned something today in the multi-material designing. And we'll see you next time. You guys are awesome.